All right, so let's take a look at number 4. Number 4, there's no number crunching here. This is where we're going to do a little interpretation. And one thing that you can expect this year that may be a little bit different than in previous years is that you're going to see a little more writing than what you've done in the past. Because, again, we're talking about things within a context, it's great that we can plug some numbers in and come up with an answer, but a computer can do that too. So what we really want to do, the human part of it, is the interpretation. What does it mean? So that's what we really want to be able to do. So we got some numbers here. That's great, but what do these numbers actually mean? So 4 says write an interpretation of the slope. So remember, slope is our rate of change, right? And it's basically that number right there. In terms of the context of a child's age and annual cost. So at the bottom here, I have a little kind of sentence frame for you as far as basically how to interpret this. So on average, and again it's on average because we're kind of taking the average of these numbers. So on average, and then the blank says what y represents. Well, so let's see, what does y represent? Well, again, x, child's age. Let's see, x was the child's age, and y was the annual cost. So on average, the annual cost, and then increases or decreases. Well, if it's a positive slope, that means that it's increasing, which we already know that. Or if it's a negative slope, it's decreasing by approximately whatever the slope is for each, and then whatever x represents. So the way that I would kind of write this is I'd say on average, and again what y represents is the annual cost. So we'll say annual cost, and it's a positive slope, so it's increasing, so it's going up, and it's going up by $300 for each year of we could say, I don't know, child's life or something like that. So how we word this, there may be some differences there. So now what I want to do, so this was just kind of the sentence frame, but actually I want to kind of clean this up. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to say on average, the annual cost. So the annual cost of a child increases, because it's a positive slope, so increases by approximately, and what does it go up by? So we said it goes up by $300 a year. Approximately $300 for each year. Right? So on average, the annual cost of a child increases by approximately $300 for each year. Right? So yeah, it's great that we got 300, but we want to interpret what that means. Again, so the slope, again, represents the change in y over the change in x. So we're saying, how does it change the cost? How does it change for each year? In this case, it was $300. Right? But what we are looking for here is a complete sentence. So for 4.2 and 4.3, I want you to kind of follow the same sentence frame that I used here, but then write it out into a nice, coherent, well-stated sentence. Right? All right, so go ahead and pause now and try 4.2 and 4.3. All right, so let's check 4.2 and 4.3. And what I've done is I've just kind of filled in some words. I want you to clean this up, though, right? So on average, the price of a 3-bedroom home decreases by approximately $4,200 for each mile from New York City or something like that, right? So like I said, what we're really looking for is a coherent sentence. And then for 4.3, should have been something like this. On average, the number of calories in a sandwich increases by approximately 15 for each gram of fat within that sandwich, right? So something to that effect. You may have worded it a little bit differently, but it's something as long as we're conveying the meaning of that slope. All right, so that concludes number 4. We'll go ahead and go on to number 5, where we're going to kind of do the same thing, but we're going to put it into the calculator.